Hey, what is up, guys? Alex here from Tech Inspected, coming to you with an unboxing of a product that I paid for and I will never financially recover from.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
This is the GPD Win Mini 2025 edition with the new AMD AI9 HX370 processor. Now, if I'm not mistaken with my AMD mobile processor history, the Steam Deck has like a, I don't know, a 6840U, and then the Asus ROG Ally Z1 Extreme is considered the 7840U. And then after the 7840U, they came up with a upgraded version called the 8840U, which is slightly faster. And after the 7840U came about, that's when the HX370 came out. So this is a new processor, a little bit more powerful. I believe it's like, I don't know, 20, 30% more powerful. But for the most part, the GPD Win Mini, I wanted one because it's small. Now, this box doesn't show it very well, but the GPD Win Mini is, I believe, the smallest gaming Windows console out there. I could be wrong. Maybe there's one like with like a weaker processor, but this is a very popular. Well, GPD is one of those companies that come up with these crazy designs. This is a clamshell. I'll show you. Let's just get into the unboxing, and I'll get to the specs later. So just so you know what I'm talking about here, let's go. Anyway, let's see what's inside this box here. There we go. So we have what looks like GPD paperwork here, and this is the actual device itself. And then underneath, we have a charger. Provides 65 watts maximum. It says right there, 65 watts. And there it is. A little bit fingerprinted. A little bit of hand oil has been put on it, but you can see a little bit of the logo, GPD, and it is a clamshell type gaming device. Look at this. Yeah, so it's like a Nintendo DS, but it's a Windows PC, and it's got one screen, 120 hertz, 1080p. It is exactly the same display as an ROG Ally, 120 hertz, but it is way smaller because it is a clamshell form factor. Here is your analog sticks. There's your analog sticks. There's A, B, X, Y buttons, right? D-pad right here. And then you have a customizable L4, R4 button, start, select, and menu. And here is your keyboard. This is a backlit keyboard. Let me see if I can turn that on. So before we do the Windows thing, let's just check out our parts of the GPD Win. There's the 120 hertz 1920 by 1080 IPS display, variable refresh rate, D-pad, keyboard. This keyboard, it is shaped like a traditional laptop that you open and then you have a keyboard and touchpad. This is a touchpad, by the way, but it is a lot smaller than you would normally have a device with. Here is my Galaxy S22 Ultra, for example. The S22 Ultra is just about the same width as the GPD. So in some aspects, you can put this in a pocket, and that's great. This is about this thick. Now, this has an upgraded sort of cooling system compared to previous generations of GPD. We have, okay, so I believe this is USB 4, and then that is full-featured USB. We got a sort of warranty sticker right there. This is, I believe, the hard drive or the SSD status light. We have a power light here, and then I think that's a reset hole. And then this is a headphone jack, micro SD card slot, USB 3.0 Type A for plugging in, USB dongles and USB thumb drives, stuff like that. And then you still have 2 more USB ports for other things like charging, putting it into a hub, putting it into a monitor or something like that. As you can see, L1 and R1 and L2 and R2. These are, I don't know, linear triggers. I don't know if they're Hall effect, but I'm pretty sure the actual sticks themselves inside, these are Hall effect right here. But I don't know if the triggers are Hall effect. Anyway, looking at the back, we have a single section for I believe the intake of the fan. And then this is the exhaust up top right here. The rest of the grill does not have any holes in them. This is just this part right here. We have DTSX sticker. We have the, I don't know what this is, maybe the serial number and whatnot. And we have a bunch of, trademark stuff at the bottom here. What is that? Is that? Yeah, that is a little bit of sticky tape goo. And on the left side, we have a controller switch. So if the switch is right onto the mouse thing, the analog sticks control Windows mouse. But if you switch it to the controller, the analog sticks control the the gamepad. And then on the front, we have bottom firing stereo speakers. It's not focusing. There you go. Bottom firing speakers. And then we have what it looks like. We have a lanyard slot right there and a lanyard slot on the left as well. So 2 lanyard ports, I believe. And on the right, there is nothing. That is our GPD Win Mini 2025. It's asking me to set up Windows, so we'll do that right now. Hey guys, we are back. We have spent about, I don't know, I want to say 8 hours with the GPD Win Mini 2025, although most of it I was asleep. We installed some games and whatnot. Here is the unit itself. It picks up a lot of hand oils, by the way. Always keep a little microfiber cloth handy. Let's look at some of the accessories first before we look at the actual unit playing any games. Let's start with this free sort of protective case. Now, we have a little rubber stopper here, or rubber area to keep the console in there. We have a little protector flap here, and then a little zippered section for accessories. And then I don't know which orientation you put the console in or the PC in, and is it this way or this way? I'm gonna assume you put it in this way, and it slides in there, and then you close it. So you can see the console or the handheld is flush with this side, and then we have maybe another extra inch of stuff we can put on the top side of the case here. Here is the extra grip. This costs 795 Philippine pesos. I don't know how much that is in dollars. I don't know, $12, $15. All right, so this grip is a sort of locking grip, or it just has this little grippy section right there. Right there. It even has a little arrow. And then you just, if I'm not mistaken, there's no instructions on this, but it hooks on there, and then you push the other side in, and then it clips on like that. Now, this grip is really handy. I'm okay with not having the grip, but when you're on, sideways on the bed, or, lying down on the bed, it offers a nice handhold. You can even put your index finger above this little groove right here, and then you have a nice little grip over it, like so. So you can hold it with one hand, for example, like so. And then I just put my thumb where this little notch here is, or the the part where it clips onto the GPD Win Mini, and you have a pretty good handhold over it. Now, if you include a little strap, which the actual console or the GPD Win Mini does not have, you would be able to have a more secure hold onto the device and a secure line to it. Now, keep in mind, the grip blocks off the lanyard strap hole unless you put the lanyard through this little port that they put in for the speaker to go through. So this is the speaker, by the way, and it has a little channel for the speaker to come through, maybe forwards a little bit. The grip is great. It's one piece. You don't have to screw it on, and it doesn't cover the vent at the bottom. I like the grip, although it doesn't fit when you put it in this carrying case. Now, speaking of the speaker, I have an issue with the speaker.
Last minute, 11th hour, they changed course and they made it illegal to fly over a farm. Can you ridiculous for drone operators? Well, at the last minute, 11th hour, they changed course and they made it illegal to fly over a farm. Or they changed course and they made it illegal to fly over a farm.
Oh yeah, I heard the crackle just now. 660.2. So it does happen in video games. It just doesn't happen just when you play, when somebody says an F word. I guess it's just censoring F words for some reason. So the speakers do have a little crackle to them. As you can see, the gameplay is really good though. It was doing 120 hertz on Dirt Rally. I forgot my settings on Dirt Rally what it was, but I did set it to 1080p 120 hertz. Anyways, so console itself, even holding the console this way, it's not terrible. You can see my fingers and rolling around the back here and kind of touching this area right there, right? And then you have access to your shoulder buttons. And then I just put my thumbs in here at rest. And when you want to control something, you put your thumbs here, you put your thumbs there. Now, there's been only a few reviews of this by the Fox and I believe Droid X and some other Asian language reviewers. They've not mentioned a lot about the thumbsticks. They've mentioned that the thumbsticks are Hall effect and they're very good. My opinion, they're actually very good, but there is one thing that nobody has ever mentioned, is that you do hit this since it's sunken under the chassis of the controller, there's only a little concave little area where the stick is inside, right? And for example, my thumbs are relatively large. When I'm moving it about, you're hitting the walls over here, around here. Now, it's not a big problem. It's something you do get kind of used to, but it's all of these controls, including these ABXY D-pad button, you have to move your thumbs inwards like this. So there's a little action of moving your entire palm forward or inwards. That's a minor thing. This one is a little bit more, because when you're looking for your thumbsticks and then you put your thumb like here, for example, you can't go diagonally up and right. If you accidentally put your thumb here and you're rushing, you can't go to that corner there. You have to move your thumb in the middle and hit that corner, for example. So that's just a minor thing. This is a compromise you need to do in a handheld like this. Anyways, these buttons right here, perfectly fine. You do need a little bit of muscle memory to get to them, but that's fine. The keyboard is, for all intents and purposes, I think is excellent. The keyboard is excellent for what it is what I'm saying. The keyboard is excellent for what buttons. I can hit H and J with a little bit of a stretch, okay? So I can actually, with my right hand, for example, I can probably press D, A, S. This one you can't do one-handed, but I can do a one-hand maybe H, right? I had a GPD Win 1, and I struggled with that keyboard, especially since it was shifted to the left, and it was hard to type. This one is excellent. It does have a backlight. You might not be able to see it right now. Get the backlight to show. There it is. There's the backlight. It is a bit yellowish backlight. Not that I'm complaining. It's probably a better color backlight. For example, since you're gonna need the backlight at night, yellow is more pleasing to the eye than full bright white. Remember? So when you want night light, you want a yellowish light than a full white or a bluish light because it hurts your eyes. Okay, so one thing about the software, it has a buggy spot here. So there's this software called HID Configuration Client that is pre-installed. HID Configuration Client. I don't know what it does, and the reason why I don't know what it does is when you try to run it, it tries to install something and it comes up with an error, and it's looking for a file that is in the admin desktop VRJ file. Obviously that's not my file. I don't know where that comes from, and I don't know the admin. I guess I'm the administrator, but it's not in my desktop. So this is a sort of loose file that it's looking for that it doesn't have. GPD this could be easily fixed by GPD just making sure stuff works before they come up with a product. The software works before they send a product out. But yeah, that's kind of just, a minor nitpick. I don't know what this is. If I need it, I will see what it does. I will check online. Like I said, this is a completely, unscripted, this is 11 hours after I got the unit. So I'm still going to need hours to figure this one out, what it does, if I need it, and whatnot. One thing I do think that software is for maybe these buttons right here, the macro buttons, that is L4 and R4 beside the menu and the start button. I actually am interested in using these buttons for some shortcuts because this is not like an ROG Ally where there's a button for the command center to toggle some to close apps and whatnot. Although you can still do Alt F4 with this physical keyboard. So I do want to use the L4 and R4 for my own purposes, and there is currently no software that I can find that can customize those buttons. So if you don't know anything about computers and whatnot, and you don't know anything about setting up a GPD and not check the Reddit or whatnot, you don't know how to set up these buttons. If you just run out and go to the store and buy one, you don't know how to do it. There is one piece of software that works that is, I know from a fact, it exists because of online reviews. This is the Motion Assistant app for GPD. Now, I'm not going to pretend to know everything about this software. I do believe that these buttons right here set your TDP, and I don't know what TDP I'm in right now. I don't really want to mess around with it for now. They got gyro stuff right here. One thing I did enable was the RTSS. I forgot the name, what that name is. But anyway, I turned on RTSS because I want to see stats in my video games. I do like the fact that it also shows the needed stats when you enable that. So I don't think there's a way through motion assistant to use R4 L4. I could be wrong. I need to mess around with that software a little bit more. But now let's get to playing video games. Okay. Recommended. So let's try maximum. Full screen 1080, 120 hertz, no VSync. All right. I appreciate the fact that the battery information is right there, 73%. We're doing 59, 55, 54 FPS. Where are you, boy? You didn't even look at me. Oh, I'm not using the right gun. 58 FPS right here. 41 watts being taken from the battery. You got him? He is lit up. Oh! It was like 52 FPS when he was trying to hit me. This isn't terrible. Look at the... So we got, obviously, the quality showing a little bit more detail on Claire. Shadowing and everything, a little bit more nicer. Alright, so we are playing Borderlands 3. I completely missed. Missed my action skill. Frame rate is pretty decent, 80 FPS. Let's look for more enemies around. Controls are very nice. They're exactly what I thought they would be. Now, I did need to increase my controller sensitivity in-game, so it's very possible that the controller sensitivity by default of this built-in gamepad on GPD Win Mini is low, so you possibly might need to increase in-game tracking. I could be wrong about that. 66 FPS, 62 right there when I was fighting that guy. I am plugged into the charger right now, or a charger, not the official one that came in the box. $60 FPS here. Let's check my graphics settings really quickly here. So we are running capped 120 FPS. Field of view is 110. We are at very low graphics settings, which is probably to be expected. Stop running away from me. So there's Borderlands 3. I know, not the newest game in the world, but this is very, very playable on this. So World War Z is a very CPU heavy type game when the hordes come in. So we'll see how it handles. It should be able to. The World War Z is not a very new game anyways. We have 21% load on CPU. There should be the horde right now. There we go. 25%. 86 on GPU. Oh, the CPU did not have a lot of trouble with all this horde. 81 degrees Celsius though. 32%, 34 on CPU now. Alright, so okay, so I did a quick 3D Mark Firestrike test here. The reason why I choose Firestrike, no real reason except that's the one I'm familiar with. And it got 7,283 on the default settings, which I believe is probably 28 watts. Alright, so while we're doing a Cinebench test on the GPD Win Mini, I did a Firestrike test on the ROG Ally Z1 Extreme with the turbo profile plugged in. Now it's not plugged in, but I was plugged in when I was doing the test at 30 watts maximum for the standard ROG Ally operating mode here. Didn't tweak any settings beyond that. So I got 7101 on the score. I don't want to need to drill down onto all of these numbers. In case you want to see, there they are. But we got a 7101 score, graphics, physics, and combined score. Then this part right here, it's warm to the touch, but it's not hot to the touch. You'll definitely feel it's higher than your finger temperature, but not really anything to get worried about. Speaking of heat, the ROG Ally screen, even though it hasn't done the Firestrike test in like 5 minutes or so, is warmer than the touchpad of the GPD Win Mini. Alright, let's check our Cinebench scores. This is the GPD Win Mini. 894 points on the multi-core, 114 points on the single core. Based on the reference amount here, it is just ever so slightly better than the 5800X desktop processor. Pretty nice numbers, 894. Here is our Z1 Extreme ROG Ally using Turbo Profile. And it's got 95 on single core and 732 on multi-core. So I think that's 160 points over multi-core on using the HX370. And on reference, the Z1 Extreme is just below the Apple M1 Max as a multi-core score. So for the moment, since this is a first impressions and unboxing video, I don't have any more to say about the GPD Win Mini 2025 with the HX370 processor. It feels great. Battery life seems to be all right, as expected. Maybe an hour plus for heavy games, and then more than that for, simpler games. As you can see, already tons of hand oils on the black color. There is a white color, but it doesn't match my equipment, so I do prefer the black. This is a bit pricey, twice the price of what I paid for my ROG Ally. And if you're only going to play games, just get the ROG Ally or Steam Deck.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
Steam Deck is the LCD version. The LCD version is 1/3 the price of this. This has a better processor, slightly. The cooling system is slightly louder, as you might have heard throughout our experience. But that is a compromise you do have to accept because you are getting a much smaller device. And, the software. The software is probably the worst thing about this device. It's just that the software is just terrible. It does what you need it to do most of the time, but it could be so much more presentable and so much more user friendly. But that is to be expected a little bit from a niche manufacturer. GPD is still kind of a niche manufacturer. And of course, third-party accessories are harder to find. Repairs are probably harder because less common device, less parts available, stuff like that. Anyways, if you are interested, this is available at Data Blitz, which is in the Philippines for $64,990, I believe, or $64,995.
Oh my God. I am never going to financially recover from this.
That's a lot of money for a sort of a niche laptop device that doesn't actually do a lot of, for full key typing. But for me, somebody who needs something small, this is an excellent device. I just hope the software, or I hope the audio crackling gets fixed somehow. I'm gonna look around online and then the GPD subreddit to look for solutions on the sound problems. Otherwise, I think this will easily replace my ROG Ally. The gaming performance is there. The portability is supremely excellent. The ergonomics, just because it has the included built-in keyboard and the included built-in touchpad, makes it 5 times better than the ROG Ally for me, because I do a lot of things outside gaming, just browsing and watching YouTube. And keep in mind, it has a built-in kickstand. Just if you're watching YouTube, you just have a built-in kick. Put it on the table. The ROG Ally doesn't even stand on the table on its own without adding a third-party kickstand that I did. So this allows for more productivity than the ROG Ally and is smaller. It is unfortunately 2 times the price. Anyway, Tech Inspected here. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Hope that helps you out. I'll eventually come up with a follow-up video to this review or this unboxing and in first impressions to tell you long-term how the GPD Win Mini is faring with me. Also, by the way, I hope they have a software they add to limit the maximum charge of the battery so that I can preserve the battery a little bit better. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Leave a comment if you're interested in this, or you think it's too pricey, or you wish they would come up with a 2025 version with lower processors and whatnot, because Data Blitz only has the HX370. Thanks for watching. Bye.